afternoon, everyone. How are we doing? How's everybody doing out there? Where are my closet swing traders? My CSTs. What a week, huh? Amazing. So today was the quad witching. So if you can't handle the volatility, obviously reduce your size or, reduce your risk, or blame your parents because they raised a big weenie, right? Oh my goodness, what a day. All right, you guys ready to talk about the markets? All righty, good afternoon. All righty, so as you guys know, quad witching day, and the market's going a little lower. We did get obviously a higher than normal candle, volume on today's candle, rather. So it's normal to be expected on quad witching day. If we were to look at the Qs, we did touch all-time highs again today. Yet again, all-time highs, like every day, every other day is all-time highs. Again, we did have an average, above average previous volume that was higher than the previous session on selling volume. So that is the Qs. It looks like we're going higher. It looks like, time to be, or if you're not in yet, this is not the time to jump in, but I would continue to be bullish. As Robert said yesterday, I would consider peeling off profits. This is not a time to go full bore and go buy everything and anything just at all-time highs. This is the time to kind of pull in your profits and lock in some gains. And that is what I have on the Qs. So if we were to look at Beyond Meat, which is the first on our list, let's take a look at it from our 10 EMA. Again, on our 10 EMA, our blue lines below our green, so nothing to do there. If we were to switch over to our put option indicator, no indications, no dollar signs in the past day or two, so nothing to do there. As you guys know, as price, if you have open put options that you've sold, as price goes higher, that's time to look at and evaluate, maybe peeling off some profit. So if my rule is 50% or more, so if I sell a put option for $10, I can buy it back for $5 or less, right? So when you sell something high, you want to buy it back lower. That's the strategy for put options. And for Beyond Meat, it's still giving us a nice bullish signal on Beyond Meat. Now, for those of you who noticed that I got some chat today, some questions about this, but this chop right through here, where it's telling us to go short and then go long, go short, go long, that is kind of the downside of Momo. You can get chopped up. Obviously, if you want to be one way or another in a stock like Beyond Meat, there are tools that can automate that. Specifically, this tool called Traders Post. So I'm showing you my live paper trading P&L that trades nothing but Momo. So you'll see that I have some nice gains in here. And again, you just turn it on and let it do its thing. So you guys can see here, P&L total, $6,900 today. Not a bad day for literally doing nothing. No new trades. I'm sorry, I take that back. Teladoc triggered today. So on just using Momo, and I put the same amount of money in each stock and let it run. And again, this is of course paper trading account, but this is here just to demonstrate and illustrate what is possible if you just let strategies work for you. You don't try to micromanage them and take small gains when you could have big gains. Earlier this week, this touched $1,250. Then it went back down below 900. And then look what happens, ladies and gentlemen. When I let the plan work for me, it kind of made that little trade made a new high. And I only have 18 shares. Now, yes, it's up obviously almost or right at $100, right? It's up $100 on 18 shares. So $1,800 profit. That makes sense, right? So that is what I want to share with you about just letting things work for you, right? Let the trade work for you. Don't try to micromanage it. A lot of people who migrate from day trading to swing trading, they like to tighten up things on a 5-minute chart and tighten up stops. And I can tell you what's going to happen. You're going to get stopped out. You're going to take a small win or a small loss, and then the trade is going to continue without you. That's I've done it. I've been there. I've done it. I'm an expert at doing all the things wrong. I'm really, really good at it. It's my superpower is doing things wrong. So anyways, that's I want to show you guys that that's kind of how it typically works out, right? Is if you just let it work, it'll work for you. But if you want to micromanage it, don't, you know, just like if you have employees work for you at your business, micromanaging them doesn't help you, doesn't help them, not ideal, right? So that is kind of what I want to show you on our boy Jonathan Wage's trader post, formerly known as Project X or Project R. I recommend Project R. Okay, next is RA Technologies. So we did have a signal here to get long back on Monday on RA Technologies. So you guys see that the signal to enter would be here, right? As the moving averages crisscross. This is my favorite type of Momo play where we have a big sell-off for at least a good, this is what, a good week or so. Let's see, yeah, about a good week, kind of selling off, and it kind of consolidates just a little bit and then pops and continues higher. That's like the perfect textbook ideal way to do it, right? That's the ideal setup for Momo. Now, obviously, it does, you don't always get that. You get a little bit of chop sometimes back and forth. So that's the ideal setup. That's like pitch perfect, everything, all the moons aligned. That's the ideal way that it works. Now, if we were to flip over to our 10 EMA, you guys can tell that we do not even have our 50-day moving average because it's still in its IPO diapers. It hasn't been around long enough to have a 50-day exponential moving average, which would typically be my green line here, right? So that is RA. Now, if we were to look at, obviously, if it doesn't have a 50-day exponential moving average, and of course, it's not going to have a 200-day exponential moving average. But you guys can see I marked the line on the kind of where the entry would have been on Momo. You guys see that? I marked the line. And then if we were to switch over to the bigger, the kind of the longer term indicators, obviously our 100 and 200 aren't showing up, but you can see a little bit of kind of what it looked like on the daily time frame. You guys see that? Where it's like a little bit of a doji. And it looks like the next day on, let's see, Tuesday, it went lower, obviously took out anyone who was trying to play some kind of a, play it either way, and went lower. All the bears got trapped, and then it snapped higher, right? And you guys can see exactly how that played out. So that's what I have for you on RA. So next up is JD, one of our favorite Chinese stocks. JD, we had a little bit of a gap down today, traded lower, right? Continuing lower. If we look on a 10 EMA, our indicators are a little bit switched. So our moving averages rather are flopped, switched. Our blue line needs to be above our green line for that to execute a trade or a signal for a trade. And then if you were to look at it here on Momo, our trade says get in right here. Now, for those of you who maybe missed this move, you certainly, because price action is still, it closed here at 81.50. Looks like after hours, it's right there at that 81.70, but our close is, yeah, so right there. So if you wanted to put in a order, either a limit or stop limit, depending on how this opens up on Monday, certainly can get like maybe a second chance to jump in if you didn't get in. Obviously, if you got in on this first day, you closed profitably that first day, and then it rolled over, went a little bit lower. So again, we still have a green shaded area here, right? We have this green shaded area, which tells us to continue to be bullish. Now, if it continues to go sideways for a little while, which is probably likely to happen, we could obviously get our orders filled. And as long as we have our red line is below our green line, it still will continue to be bullish. So it's very common for stocks to kind of pop, make a little bit of a consolidation, maybe break lower just a little bit higher, right? Maybe do something like this, break a little bit lower, kind of make a new low relative to some of this area, make a new low, and then pop higher. So again, the market is designed to trick you, to take your money. So if you execute your plan, you got your life vest on, you'll be doing good, right? So if we were to look at it on a bigger time frame, looks like we didn't get any signals, but for naked put sales, actually it's been a little while, right? It's been up here. We didn't get below in our sell zone. This would have been the only time that we got a signal on November 10th. So overall, just chopping, kind of going sideways. Hasn't really made any new highs since early November. So good 5-6 weeks there. So yeah. And I would expect maybe it does bounce off that 100, continue, maybe make a new low and then continue higher. So we'll keep our eyes on JD. Next up is FUV. FUV, F-U-V. I don't know. Is this related to love, L-U-V, Robert? I don't know. Southwest Airlines FUV, F-U-V. Can't make this stuff up, folks. So we got a signal on Wednesday for some put action to sell here. You guys see that? And it kind of called out the $12.50, $13 option for $12.50 or $13 strike. Again, we're well above our 200 moving average. So that's a decent place to either sell premium option here or at a lower, as long as you can get your 1% or 2% or 3%, whatever that 1% per month is, whatever option you're looking at, right? Yeah, so FUV is that an EV company? Is that what that is? Arcimoto? Okay. All right, and let's take a look at on it. Yep, so we got a signal. Here's a great option, ladies and gentlemen, great opportunity, I should say, is if we were to miss, you did not get in right here, you can certainly keep an open order. You guys see how that you can get a little bit of a rollover, a lower move, maybe put a stop either here or here. Something like this with the price action is above, we're going to just use a limit buy order, right? We're going to let the price action, maybe it rolls over just a little bit and then continues higher, something like that. That would be our ideal setup. Again, do you guys see what I'm talking about, where you get a second chance to jump in based on this 10 EMA? So if you didn't get in, you can keep an open order, continue, wait for a continuation higher. If you're looking at a Momo, actually, you know what? Now that I look at this, let's circle this day. Then let's go look at Momo by itself. Okay, so we didn't get the exact same day. It was very close. Okay, so again, open order either here or at 13. What was the close of that? 13.19 level. So either one, solid, solid setup, I believe. Going sideways, consolidating just a little bit, when a little pull, push lower, and then continuation higher. So that is FUV. Next up is AYX. How many of you guys have some AYX? I know quite a few people had some pretty significant holdings on this drop. I actually did not have anything. I've had AYX many times, but I did not get to go over the falls on that right there, on that significant, it's pretty sizable gap down. What was that? That was in August. Nice. You know, your average 23% gap down. Yeah. So Sammy, John, Amy, you guys were in this as you went over the rapids. Yeah, not the end of the world if you can stomach the risk. Obviously, if you have longer term time frame, if you're not trying to, you know, if this isn't like grocery money for next week, then you can, if it's in a longer term like retirement. Yep. Okay, so you bought it. Okay, you bought after it got done. Okay, nice. As did I. Yep. Yep. So that is AYX, and our if we can continue either sideways or a little push higher, our EMAs will crisscross, right? And then we'll have a little bit of a opportunity for it to close below and then kind of continue higher for our 10 EMA. Again, we haven't yet got that signal, but that's what it should look like. And for those who are playing Momo, the Momo strategy said to get in right there. Oops. Right there at about, what is that? 119.20. 119.20. Okay, John Thaxton, underwater on some January 2022, 140 leaves. Yeah, you have plenty of time, plenty of time. What is that? 25 months from now, right? 25 months to make it up to here. Yeah, I think you'll be okay. You guys want to be careful though. You need to be careful to adding to a loser. You need to be super careful with that unless you're pyramiding in, right? But don't be full size and then add to a loser. We have several of those kind of conversations every week where people are full size, a huge move lower, and then they add to it again. And you just have to be careful because you can literally blow up your account, right? Imagine, and then it's not good for your mental capital and your emotional is to drain yourself trying to turn something that's working around. Your time and energy would be better focusing, just leaving that be, and then focusing on what is a new something else that's setting up, right? And if you think of it in a like as far as a portfolio where you're not focused on just one thing, I know that if I focus on if I put way too much energy on one stock that's not doing well, it's like you end up having tunnel vision. You can't think about anything else. But if you just ignore that, right, and then focus on what are some better things that are setting up right now versus trying to add to a loser, and then what happens when it goes lower again, right? You just kind of blow up your mind a little bit. So AYX, I'm very bullish long term on it. I think it'll be solid. It may take a little bit of time to recover and push through new highs. Let's see. Let's take a look at what were the highs. The highs were up in the 180s. Okay, yeah. Yep. So John, obviously 25 months, plenty of time. Yep. Okay. You said 12 months. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right, because 2021 is next, even 12 months from now. 12, 13 months from now. Yep. 2021 is right around the corner. I just got used to writing 2020 on my dates. I got to change it again. What is, does anyone else have that issue? Is that just me? I do like AYX long term. Yep. Yep. Just me. Okay. Thank you, Terry. Okay. Next up is AMD. Oh, one thing I did want to show you too on AYX is if you're looking at it with our put indicator, it did kind of hit its head a little bit on this 200 simple moving average, this red line, right? And so again, if we're going to sell put options, we need it to be above this area, above the red line, and it kind of gives us a little bit of a signal to continue. That's like an all clear. For those of you who don't know, the 200 simple moving average on most traders that I know of, that's considered a long-term support level. And you can see here, as if it closes below that, as long as if it turns around quickly, that's ideal. But you can see what happens when it closes below. Things typically get a little dicey, right? So again, here you'll see here this line on October 30th, it closed below and it got dicey, and it's hitting its head, kind of resistance there on AYX on the 200 simple moving average. Okay, AMD. Let's take a look. See how many of you guys are in AMD. This is another RLT favorite. Jeremy did a discussion on this. How many of you guys listened to that at the Trader Summit? Right. Put a one in the chat pane if you heard that. How to turn AMD into your ATM. Right. You put your card into AMD and out comes some cash. Right. Jeremy had some pretty interesting day trading strategies that he shared with the group. Robert Falco AMD'd the AMT twice. Nice. The ATM twice. Yep. One AMD ATMD twice this week. So one twice. Okay. All righty. So it looks like it's pushing new highs too, if I'm not mistaken. It's up there. Yep, it's definitely up there. So on AMD, at all-time highs, we're not going to be selling put options. Our AMD needs to come back down into this level, or somewhere between, I should say, here and this level before we want to sell put options. And then we'd be looking at maybe the 72.50, if there is a 72.50, or either maybe a $70 strike on AMD. But again, it continues to perform fairly well. It's holding up really, really well. So that's AMD on the naked put indicator. On the 10 EMA, our strategy gave us a signal here, right here at the 91.66 level. So if you did not get in, you can keep an order open if you would like, right? With maybe a stop down here, something like this. And that would assume, and again, we'd use a limit buy because the price action needs to come back to us, come back into our range. So we're looking for something like this. And that could easily play out over the holidays, right? Easily. So that is kind of that's the setup that I see on AMD. If we're to look at, let me circle this one too. I want to double check this. I can do better than that. Let's see. Draw a circle. Flip over to my, okay, so it's a day off from where I was thinking. Okay, so again, be bullish. Our Momo is telling us to be bullish. How many of you guys think that Momo can literally change your 2021 returns or into the future? Type a one into the chat pane. Yep. Robin, Pam, Tyler, Sammy, Jack, Amy. Yep. What's interesting is a lot of times people have a hard time trying to decide, should I be bearish? Should I be bullish? And it makes it just stupidly simple, right? It kind of takes the decision making away. You just execute on, when you get an alert, execute an order, right? That's it. It's fairly straightforward. Now, the cool thing about Momo also is as long as it's trending and going in a certain direction, even this crazy candle right here, not the prettiest thing you want to see if you're bullish, if you have a position, but again, you only care about the close. Like the close is what determines whether or not you enter or not. So let's say that on Monday, we maybe open up right in this area, right? And we maybe chop around and go higher, something like that. Obviously, the bullish trend will continue, even though it put in this crazy candle. And some of you may have put a break-even order in, and you may have kissed, right? Just barely touched your order, kicked you out, and then as you see what happened after it did that, you can see that it continued and kind of receded a little bit and closed much higher. So again, if you just execute the plan, if you put the orders in and then sit back and let it work for you, that's all you got to do. That's all your plan is, right? It's all your job is to execute the plan. Now, let's take AMD is not on my list, so that's not going to be on Momo. But again, ladies and gentlemen, not all these in my portfolio, in my paper trading portfolio, not all of these are winners right now. Some of these are down just a smidge. But again, if we want to lose less than if we want to lose small and win big, I'll take a couple small losers. You see the size of these is minimal compared to the rest of these, right? Now I did have some losers, of course. Some of these that I got in with, kind of got kicked out of. Some of these were losers, not by a ton. But some of these stocks are continuing higher, and we're just going to let them go. We're going to let them do their thing, let them work in our favor. And that's one of the beautiful things of swing trading, right? Is put the orders in, let them work. Now today, I got a alert on Teladoc for Momo. That is the only one I got today. How many of you guys would love to show up to work, do one task, and then your boss like, you know what, go ahead and take the rest of the day off? That's literally the Momo job today. That's really all that happened today, right? Go ahead and put in, and of course we're not adding any new positions because we didn't get any new alerts on Momo, just using the Momo strategy, right? How many of you guys would love it if your boss said, you know what, go ahead and take the rest of the day off? And so here, this right at the end of the day, got an alert, as you guys can see, kind of post market, this little blue line right here at 195.60. It's kind of continuing higher, right? So I would love that. I would love that for you guys who have a JOB. Go ahead and take the rest of the day off. That'd be amazing. Okay, that's Teladoc. Let's take a look at the 10 EMA. Our moving averages are flipped, and let's take a look at it on, so on our long-term moving averages. got a good signal here on Wednesday. I got some messages from some of you guys about selling puts on this day. Obviously, it's below our 200 SMA, so that would not be good time to sell. That doesn't follow our plan. However, if you already had put sales from over here and you're in it, you'll see what happened. We kind of went lower and then closed above. So again, if you close below the 200, as long as if it continues lower, then look out below. And you'll see here that these closed and kind of retested some of the 200 SMA, right? Went lower, closed higher. And then it gapped up again, sold off a little bit, held this 200, gapped down, and then slowly it closed above, right? So you guys can see that it's working on testing the limits of that, the boundaries, right? The 200 SMA seems to be holding up really well. And again, if this is not a time to sell, that you got the signal, but it was below our 200 SMA. Again, if you had put options, then sit tight, let them work for you, right? And then we'd be looking around the 185 level for put options, for selling put options. Again, if we are in Momo, got the signal today, right at the close. So yeah, and again, some of you asked me about this too on Momo, is if you're playing options and you get the signal literally right at the close or maybe 2 seconds after, if you want to play options, the ideal thing would be to look at it a few minutes before the close to get some option order in. Obviously, in this case, it's not a very big body here, right? It's kind of a doji with a higher and lower wicks, or higher and lower shadows there. And so you would almost have to play that one a little bit by ear, give or take a minute or two before the close if you're playing with options. But shares, sure, why not? Go ahead and get an order ready to go. And again, the strategy calls for the close of the candle. But 1 minute before the close, this isn't going to move that much in a minute, right? Because this is 78 minutes total. It's not going to move that much. So go ahead and get your orders ready and keep an eye on these. And typically what I'll do is I'll just scroll through my list real quick and I'll be looking for the green arrows. Now I do get alerts. Some of you guys know, depending on what plan you have in TraderView, your alerts sometimes expire. So just keep an eye on those. I think originally, let's see, I think I'm on the pro plan. And so I can go out 90 days. So 90 days from now, if I set new alerts today, 90 days from now, I do want to keep an eye on those alerts, make sure they didn't expire. And I'm wondering why I'm not getting any alerts anymore. There you go. Yep. And they have it's pretty simple. Let's see. It's pretty simple to set up the alert, but you can see here, they're all active. All my alerts are active. And today I got the trend changing alert, December 18th today on Teledoc. Yesterday it was just Tesla, right? And the second day in a row. Do one thing and then go take the rest of the day off, man, right? Amazing. Okay, so that is Teledoc. Let me go back to my list. See, where did I leave off? AMD Fastly. How many of you guys are in Fastly? That is in my portfolio as well. Yep. Yep, up just a little bit on Fastly. John, okay. Pam, Sammy, Cal, Victor, Emily, Terry, Jack. So Amy, you sold some covered calls. You got called away. Good job. I mean, that's still a good thing, right? I assume you sold it the covered call higher than what your cost basis, what your average entry was. So you must have. Did you sell like 100, or is that what you sold? 100? 100. Okay. Yep. Was the Cisco buyout just a rumor? That's a good question. I don't even know. Robert, do you know? I did not look at the news on that today. The cool thing about Momo is it doesn't necessarily matter about the news. You just play, right? The news will influence the stock price, and the stock price is what you're looking at, which has the news, like the price actions baked into it already. So if you just trade the price action, whatever happens, happens, right? So Fastly, our signal was to get long here on December 16th, which was on Wednesday. So be bullish. Again, we got our green shaded area. And our original signal when I first got in was back here on December 3rd. And our trader post, our automation that we're using, we got a kind of a bullish bullish shaded area, right? And bullish signal, or not bullish, bullish trend. And it said to exit right here at the close of this candle. So we locked in profits from here to here, right? Locked in some gains, and then it rotated higher. We may took a small loss between here and here. And then now we're in again bullish. And we're continuing from here to here. Again, if you guys look at this chart right here, let's say that this, I don't know, let's just pretend that this represents 1R, just for example, like the size of this move. This is probably like minus point, I don't know, 0.3R. So we lost maybe 0.3R. And then again here, this move just today, we're still, not today, but where we are in close, we're up like almost another R, right? Now, obviously it is not the scale, right? Don't send me any hate mail. But you guys see what I'm saying is if you were to get in here at the close of this candle, again, we had a bullish trend and continued higher. And even though you had these crazy wilds, looks like the earth is gonna, or the stock is gonna sell off and go to zero, crazy moves, the trend still stayed bullish. And then look at this beastly candle right here. Look at this guy. I got way too many lines on it. Again, kind of sell off, the world is ending, another, right? Again, so depending on what your time frame is, obviously 78 minutes for Momo, but you guys could easily get tricked out of thinking, okay, time to short, right? How many of you guys would have seen something like this and thought, oh, I need to short that? And then look what happens the very next day. This happens, right? How many of you guys, maybe that's the old you, not the new you, right? Yeah. So that's Fastly. Be bullish. Fastly happens to be one of those that is in Matt's time capsule. Here's a snapshot of my time capsule. I got 5 stocks, 20,000 in each. We'll see what happens. Yep. So far, just in 2 weeks, up 17%. Now, I will say this, that's highly unusual. Okay, don't get used to 2 weeks, 17% returns, and you're doing the math in your head. Okay, you know, what will I be on the year? But I fully expect this whole thing to go red probably at least twice over the next 2 years. I'm sorry, over the next 5 years. So I see all of this becoming red and at least twice in the next 5 years, the next 60 months, right? So that's my time capsule project. For those of you who didn't hear about that, oops, what just happened? Those of you who didn't hear about that, I put in some orders to buy at the close of last Monday. So been in almost, you'll see here the 7th, and I just basically spent 20,000 on each of these 5, put in a time capsule, and we're just keeping an eye on it. And my plan is to do nothing, to not hedge, to not get defensive, to put it in and see what happens, right? Lock it in a time capsule, and we'll take a look at where it is 5 years from now. So again, I'm saying right now in front of all of you, I expect all of this, even though it's up $17,000, I expect all of it to go red between now and then. And I'm going to practice my 5-year holding muscles, get those things stretched out and working. I feel like there's lots and lots of stocks that if you just sit on them and let them do their thing and not try to trade in and out so much. Again, obviously, this is not my only portfolio. Obviously, I have other things that I have Momo and else and other strategies that I'm working with as well. So, yep. Any questions on the time capsule project? How many of you guys, that's the first time you've heard of that? Put a 1 in, Jeppy. Everyone's heard of that. Is this on? Is this thing on? What am I going to bury it in? In the backyard. A little pipe with some end caps. Yep. Now, hopefully I don't move in 5 years and I forget that I put it back there. No, that won't happen. Yep. Yep. So that is Fastly. How many of you guys think Fastly? Let's look at it. Let me learn you something. That's my Beverly Hillbilly speak. I mean, look at this stock, guys, from 20-ish to 100, right? So 5x, right? question is, do you think it can go another 10x in 5 years? Now, this has really only been a year and a half. And you'll see that you have to be able to stomach these crazy wild moves from 136 down to, so it sold off and lost 54%. And that's a relatively short period of time. What is that saying? 22 days. So basically a month time frame, right? Yep. So in a month's time frame, how many of you guys can stomach a 54% sell-off? So for me, that would be a $20,000 holding, right? And losing half of that in just a month. Well, the plan's to do nothing. Let it work for me. Obviously, if I did nothing, you can see it's starting to recover already, right? So that's the idea with the time capsule. Albert, you asked about how do you turn on Momo's alert condition. That's a great question. First thing you want to do is make sure you have it on your screen. You want to right click and go to add alert. And you want to pick the trend following option. And I like the trend reversing once per close. Now, some of you asked me about this open-ended. For whatever reason, I don't have that on my plan. I guess I don't have the high enough plan. But otherwise, I would check the open-ended. But that's, if you guys want to take a screenshot of that, that's what it looks like. Can you guys see that? Okay, so I need Pro Plus. What am I, just Pro Minus? Or just regular Pro? Maybe that's what I have. I don't even know. I don't even know what I have. I have something. Yeah. So Albert, does that answer your question? The alert condition for certain symbols inside TradingView. Now, the way that TradingView works, and I know Jonathan's got this question before too, and I'll try to answer this broadly, is this works. This alert is for this stock on this time frame. Okay, setting this is an alert for Fastly and only Fastly on the 78-minute time frame. Okay, so if I switch over to AMD, I have to also do the same thing, set an alert there. I do the same exact process. I pick the trend reversing and 1 bar per close, or once per bar close. Yeah, at the close. And so then I would set another one at AMD. And then typically what that looks like is over here is I got one for AYX. This is my 15 list. You guys see that? You won't see anything on here that's not on my 15. AYX, Beyond Meat, CrowdStrike, Datadog, Elastic, Fastly, Mongo Database, NVIDIA, Pinterest, Peloton, Roku, Shopify, Teladoc, Tesla, and Twilio. So for those of you who are watching this video at 1.25% speed, you may want to slow that down again and replay that part. Does that make sense? So that's how it's done. Yeah. Okay, next I was saying I have to have premium, not pro plus. Okay. You can also use crossing, yeah, there's different alerts. That's typically how there's different ones built into that. So into the alert. So that's in the indicator, I should say. So there's a couple different things in there you can play around with, see what suits your fancy, which one you like, which one you prefer. So let's finish our list. Next is GAN. GAN, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. There's my, not quite perfect, but a nice sell-off for a good week or so, right? And it flipped bullish, then flipped bearish again. Good, nice sell-off, and then boom, there's our alert. Get in, be bullish, right? Our signal was here at the 1590 level, right? And even though we had some crazy dramatic selling candles right through here, our trend is still bullish. Very good, but still bullish. So again, it's worth to play. It's really not that hard. Discipline, I think, is the hardest part of this, is make sure you just follow the plan. That's it. Okay, let's take a look at our medium-term moving averages. Nothing there. And our long-term moving averages. Ooh, okay, so this is a fairly new IPO. So someone decided to IPO in the middle of a pandemic. Look at that. Like May was early pandemic time still, right? March, April, May. So we do not have our 200 SMA we would see like our red line coming through here, which we do not. We do now because I just drew that, but that's not the 200 simple moving average. So I don't see anything else there on GAN. And again, our put sales require us to be, the price action needs to be above our 200 simple moving average. Next is iRobot. Have you guys got an iRobot? Yep. So if you look, these played out perfectly. These put sale indicators when this alerted back a few months ago, September and November, right? And look, immediately rocketed higher, right? Again, depending on which one you played. Today, if you sold some put options here at the 70 level, I'd be willing to bet if you sold it for a month or so, today probably expired nicely out of the money, and I went to options heaven, right? 72.50 or 70 area, right? That looks pretty solid. If we were to look over on Momo, see what Momo has to say. There we go. So it's jumping right here at the 77.32 level. All right, so buy here. Now, if you're not in it yet, I would say go ahead and wait. These are times to peel off profits, not to jump in. You don't want to chase it. You don't want to be the guy chasing the racquetball. I've told that illustration before. You don't want to be the guy chasing the racquetball full speed towards the wall. The ball bounces, you run into the wall. And the market sometimes woos you, right? It's tractor beams you into thinking, oh, it's going higher and the FOMO is real and you're chasing it higher. And we all know what's going to happen if you chase things higher. You're going to have some crazy like sell off, and then you're going to exit for a loss, and then it's going to bounce and continue higher, and then you're going to be all kinds of crazy in the head. So don't chase things higher. Again, that would have been the signal there on iRobot. Next is Ozone. Ozone looks like a fairly new IPO. Ooh, new, as in like a few weeks old. Yeah, so this doesn't even have teeth yet. It's definitely in diapers. I don't see anything here for our 10 EMA or our put sales. Momo, you guys saw what it said. Momo said to get in right here. It doesn't have tons and tons of. You'll see here, kind of just chop for the first what's that? 5 days of its IPO. So still fairly new. I typically don't like to play these IPOs until we get at least some longer term, some track record of a good 50 to 200 days. So some of our longer term moving averages can kind of come in, break through and put in some good long-term support moving averages for us. So that is Ozone. Yeah, Ozone. Next up is audio codes. Look at this Chop City. Now, our last signal to get in for would have been this. You guys have asked about this before, that the exclamation point means it gapped up and sold off. So we would, I'm using a red line, but I probably should use blue or green. So our signal would to get in right here at the 27.39 level. Oh, I didn't know that. So when you undo, it undoes the color of the paintbrush. Huh, I didn't know that. Where'd my, okay. Green, there we go. Let's get a different shade, something like that. There we go. Okay, 27.40. So if you're not in yet, I would say you could probably, I would wait. Yep. That is audio codes. Next up is plug. Plug, our signal to get in here would have been at 28.57. Be bullish. You guys see that? 28.57. Again, we want to be in before the trend happens, before the trend really starts going. So we're going to get in, and then the trend continues higher. Now, the cool part about plug is you'll see that we had this massive rundown from here, from the $14, $15 level, right? And exited here around 24. So got a good almost $10 move out of a $14 stock. So yes, please. So for those of you in plug bullish, congratulations, that looks sharp. Again, this kind of a sell-off here at the end of the day, nothing to be super concerned about. What really matters is the trend, this green shaded area. That's really what you really care about more than anything. And you guys have seen all the drama that happens from all these candles and presidential tweets and market news and interest rate this and Congress that, all that stuff is baked into the price action. So whatever happens, happens. and you're just looking at the price action regardless of the news. The news may give you a heads up to, is this a short-term problem or a long-term problem? But in this case, just quad witching on a lot of across a lot of stocks. So yeah. Okay, 10 EMA, Dustin in. Yep, look at that. Let's circle this guy. 10 EMA. Let's look at it on. Ooh, got the double signal, Dustin. Is that what you did? You got in the 10 EMA. Okay. You guys see what he's talking about? He got in at the, I assume this is where he got in, right here at the close, would have been 28.47. Yep. So again, we got two signals telling us to be bullish at the same time. I need to think of a term for that. You guys have to help me think of a cool term where the 10 EMA says to get in and the Momo says to get in at the same time. Help me think about what we should call that. Maybe our charm indicator, double down, full house. Full house, I like that. The full to the long deuce. The double long DeLong. All right, good times. I'll have to be thinking about that over the break, the Christmas break. But yeah, plug looks good. Again, obviously we're kind of far away from our 50-day moving average, so I wouldn't be surprised if we did get a little bit of a pullback and then continuation higher. If you look at this 50 SMA, this looks like a Olympic snow ski jump, right? Where that's the edge of it, just and skier goes, whoa. So looks pretty solid to me. So next up is Twitter. How many guys are in Twitter? So I don't see any. Look at this thing, man. Is that all-time highs? It is, or at least recent all-time highs. It is all-time highs, as far as I can tell. No, not quite. So we're going back to 2015. Okay, so 5-year all-time highs. And you'll see that we are above, our blue and green lines are in the right direction. So what we're looking for on a 10 EMA is a close below yesterday, and then today be a close above. So we need at least 2 days for that to form, right? So maybe Monday and Tuesday, we'll get that signal to get into Twitter. Personally, social media wise, I prefer Pinterest. I think it's a cooler, better, unique social media platform, especially with what is it, like 72% of the demographics are females, and all the e-commerce and the buying that could facilitate around that. Good stuff. I told you guys my teenage girls who are 17 and 19, I get Christmas lists from them. Here's my Pinterest board for what I want for Christmas. And of course, you look at it and it's like $12,000 worth of stuff. You're like, okay, I'll get you those shoes. How many of you guys have teenage daughters? Allison, how many of you guys have teenage daughters? Put a 2 in the chat pane. Yep. Chris, 2 young sons. Okay, gotcha, Allison. Yep. 18 and 20. Yeah, close to my age. Yeah. John has 4 of them. That's right. And you're a retired pilot, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, John? My wife was, she was in the Air National Guard. She retired. She was a chaplain's assistant for many, many years. Yep. One's 23. Okay, got it. Yep. Okay, Twitter. Let's take a look at it on Momo. See what Momo has to say. It's probably, okay, look at that. Look at that. I'm so happy. Look at that. Nice. Twitter's not on my list, but congratulations to those of you. Jonathan, is that on the list of available? Let's take a look-see. Let me take a look-see if Twitter is on here. Ooh, no, it's not. Okay, something to think about. So this is my what I call my Momo watch list, where I just checked off the 15 stocks that are on there. Yep. Yeah, something to think about. No worries, all good. All good on Twitter. So you'll see, guys, this was a nice move, and it gave us a signal to get out, like lock in our profits. And then it said get short, and then it quickly, the very next candle said get long. So It happens, and you took a small like paper cut loss between these two levels, and again it rocketed higher. So what else? What else can you ask for? That's the ideal. It did chop a little bit through here. Yeah, absolutely. So if you have shares or options, I'm sure that's looking nice and pretty for you there. So it went from what 43 up to where it is now, almost $56 in a matter of, let's see, what is that in days? 31 days. Is that right? Yeah, I guess so. November 7th. So about a month. Yeah, nice. Nice moves on Twitter. Next up is Penn National Gaming. There's our signal to get in. I would not chase this if you're not in. Looks solid. Be bullish. No signals. This looks similar to Twitter, where we want to, for our 10 EMA, we want to close below than yesterday and close above today. So need at least two days for that to develop. And we'll be waiting for that. And then if we look at it on our longer term moving averages, looks solid. Penn, for those of you who actually got in here at the late October, you got some signals here to sell put option all through here. Obviously, if you sold 1-2 months out, your options expired, went to option heaven. Looks pretty solid. And again, above the 200 SMA, so 200 simple moving average. And if you sold the 55 or lower, congratulations. For some of you, you probably, depending on which day you sold, probably within a week or two, if you were to sell or buy back your put option, maybe at the high of this candle, you could have almost got your 50%. I haven't looked at the exact option pricing, but could have got your 50% option capture there, probably within a good 6-7 trading days. So that's amazing. I think the record I've had for buying back 50% is about 2 to 3 days, and that happened one time on Amazon back when I traded Amazon. Where I sold it on like a Monday and I bought it back 50% on a Wednesday, where it gapped up and just rocketed higher. So that's not common. It's highly irregular, but take what you can get. Absolutely. So again, Penn Gaming looks solid. Next up is Cloudera. Look at that. Our signal was, look at that candle. Woo, man, not for the faint of heart. Signal said get in there again. No, even with all this drama, all this crazy wild candle, and look at that candle compared to all these others. That is just a wild, crazy range. I mean, that is that's a big candle. Again, it's not a daily candle, of course. We're looking at 78-minute chart, but again, even with all that, our trend it's continued and stayed bullish, right? And there's a few moments where it looked like it might have flip-flopped. You guys see that? It may have, but as long as you held to the plan, right? You put in a nice solid candle here. The moving average did not flip-flop. It went higher, kind of went sideways, sold off a little bit. And again, as long as we're continuing, as long as our shaded area is green, we're going to be bullish. We'll see what happens on Monday. But amazing. Actually, I don't think I've seen one quite like that on Cloudera, that type of a move. But we did get our, and this is a great reason why you don't want to buy up here at all-time highs, at least on this chart. You don't want to buy at the highs. Look what happens. It was a great example of why not to. And I mean, if you bought up there and it immediately rocketed lower, you're going to be taking a loss, and then you're going to exit, and it's going to, and then what's going to happen? It's going to continue without you. So don't do that. Don't chase things higher. Execute your plan. Makes it simple. Okay, next up is Tesla. I saw this earlier today. So, ladies and gentlemen, if I was gonna point this out, is if you did not get in and you had an open order right here at, let's say, 635.57, which is the close of that candle, 635.57. Ladies and gentlemen, if you had an open order, would you have been filled, yes or no, for Momo? Meaning you didn't get it, you didn't get in right away, but you had a second chance. Yes or no? Would you have got in? Could you have been filled? Allison is saying yes. Emily is saying yes. Terry is saying yes. And the answer is yes, you are correct. So even if you don't get in Momo right away and you still got a second chance to get in, look at that. Now, someone tell me why the moving averages didn't kind of revert and point lower. because that was quite a move, quite the candle. So T got in 2 shares at 635 today. Congratulations. Yeah, looks solid. I mean, that's already profitable. Terry, so the reason it did not, the reason the moving average didn't revert is that it's based on the close of the candle, right? So no matter what happens during that 78-minute window where the candle is gyrating and moving around and higher, lower, it's the close that it's marked. Now, if you're watching it live, watching candle formation live, you will see the moving averages, especially the exponential ones, will kind of snake around a little bit and they'll move higher and lower. But again, at the end of the day, Momo makes its decisions based on the close of the candle more than anything, right? So let's see. Let's see if I have Tesla in here. I think I do. Yep, I got 10 shares, so I'm up about half an hour, about 0.4 R. Yep, so it looks solid. Tesla looks solid. And again, look at this move. This I saw this, and for whatever reason, I don't know what I was thinking. I did not get in. So fighting back the FOMO, gonna cry myself to sleep. Didn't get into this huge move. Now, here's a funny thing. I was actually in this one, and this move took a small loss, and for whatever reason, I did not get back in, and I missed out. Gonna cry myself to sleep, definitely. Okay, so Tesla. Next up is ACLS. And our signal to get in was right here, $29, 29.01, 29.02 to get in. Look at this move. Look at this. Even down here, let's see. Not a little bit of a sell-off, right? For a good week or two, right? Flip bullish, get in. Then you had a little bit of back and forth. Right, you took a small gain, jump back in, and then continued higher. Look at that, amazing. ACLS, and let's take a look on the. Okay, so we got a signal to get in here. What are we going to call it? The double deuce, the double DeLong deuce. I want something that's not so like wordy. I have to help me figure out what that would be. Let's take a look. Okay, so not quite the exact same time. Yep. Dropping deuces, DeLong, double DeLong, long. That's a mouthful. Yep. ACLS. Okay. So if you're not in that, you can certainly have an open order around $29, limit order $29 to get in if you're not into that. Home Depot. Look at that chop. Look at that. That looks like the local amusement park roller coaster. You definitely got some chop action going on there. Again, a little bit of a sell-off for a good week. Flipped, went long, right? 268.19. That's what that would have looked like. If you look at it on a little bit bigger time frame on our daily chart, it's holding up really well, right? We're not getting any signals to sell down and waiting for the price action to get down into our sell zone. And again, we want it to be above our 200 some moving average. So we'd be looking for price action to get in here and wait for our magical dollar sign that says, go check the premium, see if we can get some cash, see if we can get some premium out of that. Next up is DraftKings. Okay, so congratulations if some of you got into, sold some put options here at the $47.50, $45 level, somewhere in there. We did get a little bit of a signal today. I did not sell any put options on this. Does someone want to tell me why I did not sell put options on this guy? Does anyone know? Nobody knows. I'll just leave you guys with that to think about. Somebody's got to know. Cal, correct. It's not on my watch list. It's not on my watch list. I don't even know anything about it, right? I don't look at it. I don't look at the premiums. I look at it for you guys, but I don't pay attention to it. It's not on my watch list. Lots and lots of stuff happening on the 15 watch list. Lots of stuff happening. So can't be in everything. So next, DraftKings says to jump in here at the 49.77 level. Yep, be bullish. You guys see the trend forming, and even though you get these super overly dramatic candles here and here, right, with the lower shadow, lots of buying pressure, the trend is holding up, still green, still continuing. So be bullish on DraftKings. Next is our favorite galactic company that's not owned by Elon Musk. You guys probably know this, Jeremy, Necker Island, owned by Richard Branson. CEO of Virgin Galactic is Richard Branson as well. Yep. So Jeremy hanging out with, or at least on his island. I don't think Richard Branson's there. I think he left earlier this week. But this is Virgin Galactic. Our signal says to be bullish. I'm sorry, bullish, bearish. Red is bearish. Be bearish here at the 27. What was it? 2707 level, and you guys can see perfectly. No matter what happened, perfectly rolled over. Got our red bearish zone going on. Okay, next one more is Pinterest. Pinterest, our signal was to, if you're not in it, you can go ahead and set up a Momo stop limit, right? 71.17, wait for the price action to go higher, get triggered. That would be like your second chance to get in. It had, look at all these little chunks of, these little bite-sized pieces of Momo that you could have gotten in on. If we look at it on a bigger time frame, daily, yeah. Long term, looks solid. This is exactly what you want with put sales, is you want this stair step action. Just means it's making new highs. That's what it means. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I have one or two quick announcements for you. As you guys know, next week is Christmas, so we will be closed the next 2 weeks. The trading rooms will be closed. Jeremy, myself, others will be around, not necessarily in the trading rooms, but we will be on Slack from time to time. Have some family stuff going on this week and next week. So our next session together will be on the 4th. So January 4th. So I won't see you guys until next year. Can you believe that? So that is my first announcement. My second announcement is I want to leave you with something. I want to leave you guys with something. Let's talk about one thing real quick and then we can run. What is your definition of success? What is success? So how many of you guys put a 2 in the chat pane if you think that you are successful, or if you think of yourself in terms of being successful, right? So what if we redefine success and we just said, I like Jeremy's answer. If you guys were in the trading psychology class last week, I like Anil's answer. What if success means you're making progress? How many of you guys are making progress, right? That's an amazing thing. I want you guys to think about this in the 2 weeks that we're taking a break for the holidays. If you're making progress, that is successful, right? Like noodle that around a little bit in the next 2 weeks. You're making progress. Jeremy, his definition is if you can recognize opportunity, right? Which is we have lots of signals and strategies. If you're able to recognize opportunity and jump on it when it happens, right? So, yep, affirmations, meditations, lots of amazing content that came out past 2 weeks. Some of you have said, guys, halt and pause all the content. I got to consume all this stuff. So between the trading psychology class and the Traders Summit, lots and lots of content. I personally haven't even gone through it all myself, and I was there live for most of it. I want to go through it a second time, absorb it a second time. So again, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you at the top of the next year, January 4th. I love you guys. Signing off. Merry Christmas. And we'll see you at the end or the beginning of next year. Thank you guys. Yep. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you. Don't forget to live life and trade it. Thank you.